Hey there, I'm Terrie, and I'm the intuitive healer for folks who have anxiety and want to access their soul evolution and intuition. There's more than meets the eye here as we chat and hang out in these episodes that have spiritual, esoteric, multidimensional, somatic, quantum techniques, tools, and tips to help you get unstuck and move you forward in your day-to-day life. So join me in discovering your path to help you clear anxiety of the past, align your energy to the present, and create your new future. Well, hello, and how is your heart? How's that wonderful, beautiful, dynamic heart of yours, you spiritual empath? I hope it's well. I hope it's well. Today, we're going to talk about confirmation bias. So what is that? All right, let's just get right to it. Confirmation bias is the phenomenon, I guess you can call it phenomenon, but it's what your mind is always doing to prove what you're thinking, right? So it's got to confirm, it's got to go ahead and look for pieces of evidence to confirm whatever your thought is. This is why it's super, super important to know what you're thinking. Now, humans, we just merely mortals, we just go around thinking so many thoughts a day, so many freaking thoughts a day. But not all thoughts tend to get proven, let's say, right? So here comes the idea of thought forms, right? And if you remember, I have spoken before about thought forms, but what are thought forms? Thought forms are kind of like entities or beings that comes from a thought that you feed over and over and over again. So you're giving your energy, which is your attention or your focus, to this thought. So you're going to have this thought over and over and over again. So your mind will need to confirm that that thought is true. And how is it going to do it? It's going to do it by creating circumstances. It's going to be doing it by creating scenarios. It's going to do it by bringing in people to confirm or even affirm that thought, right? So let's just pretend you have a tendency to be more of a negative thinker, right? And remember, we live in duality and polarity. So there's always two ends of the stick, right? So if you have a tendency, let's say, to be more of a negative thinker, guess what your mind is going to do? It's going to activate confirmation bias. And therefore, you will only be able to see, think, feel, or experience negativity, right? Why? Because your energy tends to focus on the negative, right? So far, this is making sense to you, right? It's very logical. It's very pragmatic. It's very practical. Wherever you're placing your attention or your awareness, that is where your energy is going to follow. So if you're always thinking negatively or, oh no, here's something that's about to happen. When is the next shoe going to drop? Everything great happens and then all of a sudden it falls to crap. That is what your mind is going to confirm. And it's just the opposite too. If you say everything is great, miracles happen all the time, things are wonderful, the weather is beautiful, I really meet a lot of great people, then guess what? Your mind is going to always look to prove those thoughts. And therefore, you're going to have more positive experiences, right? But this is where you come in. You as a higher soul. Not you as your lower soul, the part of you that's entangled with physical reality, the part of you that's entangled in ego, in fear and anxiety. I'm talking about the higher soul. The higher soul, when it is driving, when the higher soul is driving, it is giving you the control to make your choices. And usually the higher soul is acting upon or acting from 3 places: love, light, and power. Love, feelings and emotions; light, intelligence and power, will. And what the higher soul does is it uses the human body as its vehicle, as its tool to play out intelligence, feelings, and acts of will or power, right? But in order to access the higher soul, you have to lull or quiet down the lower soul, which is where meditation can come in, which is where physical activity can come in, which is where redirection of your energy can come in. And when the higher soul is driving, let's say, then you can choose which direction you're going to think in a more positive direction or a more negative direction. And then your mind is going to confirm whatever direction you're thinking, right? Which is also another reason why oftentimes affirmations just don't work. How many times have you tried to tell yourself you're prosperous, but your bank account is not exactly reflecting that, right? Or you are, men find you sexy, and then there are no men that are knocking on your door to have sex with you. That's a little bit dramatic, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Because a thought form has more energy to it, has more life force to it than an affirmation. So you have to create a thought form from that affirmation. And how do you do it? By giving it a lot of your attention, your focus, and your energy. So if you have all of these thought forms that you as the higher soul have chosen because you have been entangled with the lower soul, which is okay. There's no judgment on this. This is just the way it is. And those thought forms tend to be more in the negative aspect. I don't have enough money. There isn't enough money. Money is the root of all evil. If I'm spiritual, I'm supposed to be giving my gifts away for free. Those are thought forms that you have fed, given your energy, your time, and your attention to for many, 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 many years. So we can kind of look at those as bigger fish. And what do bigger fish do? Bigger fish eat smaller fish. So you have now a new affirmation. I am wealthy. I am sexy, that you just haven't thought or put enough time or attention or your energy or focus on. It's a smaller fish. So your thought form is going to eat that affirmation. But you, as an enlightened human, you as a human who understands you get to choose. You don't have to be victimized by circumstances. You can choose to change the direction in which you think. Now, is that an easy feat? Hell no. By no means am I saying this is easy, but what I am saying, it is a choice. So you could choose to go to the gym and exercise, or you could choose to stay home, sit on your tush and watch TV. That's a choice. And yes, it's going to take courage. It's going to take strength. It's going to take motivation to get your tush up off of the couch and get your butt to the gym. But it's a choice. Right? So if you continue to choose certain, we're going to call them storylines, right, about yourself or your circumstance or your situation, your mind is going to always look to prove what you're thinking. It's just the way it is. That's neuroscience, baby. That's the human part of you. So this hopefully is empowering to you. Like when I hear this, I say, oh, okay, that means I can actually stop the momentum that I'm on. And I can change it, but I'm the only one that can do it. And that means I do have to be very conscious, very aware, and very mindful of what I'm thinking in any now moment. Because the more I think that, the more that thought is going to come alive and it's going to overtake. This big fish is going to eat a smaller fish. The newer affirmation that I'm working on redirecting my life into. So I'm going to give you an example of what I've been doing lately. Now, as an empath, you know how hard it is to consistently over and over again discern what is your energy from other people's energy. And you can only do so much. You're a mere mortal. You're a mere human. You do what you can. Well, you guys know that the energy is very thick and dense. I call it gloppy, molassesy. Sometimes it's just hard to navigate because there is so much negativity, so much fear, so much anxiety out there. Even though I can recognize that these are not my thoughts, these are not my feelings, and the response or the reaction that I just made wasn't mine. Right? But as a human that does have an ego and has a lower soul, I too can get entangled just like you. And then I have to become very mindful and aware and say to myself, oh my gosh, this is not me. This is not me. I am tapping into the energy around me. Why? Because I'm very sensitive to energy, just like you. So there will be times where people ask me, how are you doing, Terrie? And sometimes in my own personal experience, I'm not doing well. And sometimes in my personal experience, I'm doing awesome. And sometimes in the collective experience, I'm not doing well. That's not mine. I don't take responsibility for it, but it still doesn't mean that I'm not on some level feeling it, right? So I have started to say, I'm faithing. That's how I'm doing. I'm faithing. I am having faith that everything is going to somehow, even though I don't know the how, because the how is Nanya, right? It is none of your business how. That is the divine's job. That is not your job to figure out how. I'm faithing. I don't know how this is all going to play out. I hate politics, by the way. Hate. Yes, I have my own personal opinions, but I hate politics. And here in the States, we have been in political season, and it's just going to get worse, right? So I don't want to create this thought form of life sucks right now or life is hard. And I have found myself doing that. So if you found yourself doing that, you're not alone. F to the Y to the I. But I started to redirect my thinking into I'm faithing, I'm having faith. I am going to trust in God, in the divine, in all of the higher beings, in all the holy angels and archangels, and all of my spirit guides. I'm going to have faith that even though I don't know how, because it's none yet, Terrie, it's all going to work out okay. I am faithing. So I'm actually being very authentic and honest when somebody is asking me that question, because if they say to me, how you doing, Terrie? And I'm like, oh, everything's fine. Everything's great. When it isn't, I feel like a liar. But I also don't need to, want to, or have to explain myself, right? So I say I'm faithing. And then there's always the follow-up question. Well, what does that, what's a faithing? And I just say I'm having faith that everything's going to work out. And people get it because they too are faithing. You are faithing. But that's where I want to direct my attention. That's where I want to put my mind so that it looks for ways to prove that thought. Right? So there'll be situations, circumstances, people, whatever, that will continuously bring me the faith and the trust. Right? So now I can trust. Now I can have faith. So, the brain is amazing. Right? So we have to navigate this human in this entire spiritual experience, because this is all a game, you guys. This is the Matrix. Okay, this is a game. Your reality is based on what you think, what you feel, how you respond, react, and behave, and how you move your body. That is the reality. Not what other people tell you, not what other people expect of you. It is what you, with conscious effort and mindfulness, what you create. That is the higher soul. So the challenge is for us to detangle ourselves from physical reality, think and feel, act and behave beyond physical reality, which oftentimes means we have to have faith and trust in a higher power. So just because what we want or desire is not here yet does not mean that it can't be on its way, because our human mind is going to consistently look for ways to prove that we can actually get there. But we have to give our mind that opportunity and that chance to do it. And if you don't, you fall into the victimization of what others are telling you. Others are saying life has to be, feeding you fear. And again, I'm not saying this is easy. This is not easy. But if you get the right support and you work with the right people, and then you start surrounding yourself with the right people, and you start to see pieces of evidence around you in your physical reality that what you're thinking is actually coming true for you, you realize you have power. You have more control. You are not that anxiety, those fears that you're being fed or that aren't even your own, right? So this confirmation bias is a thing. Power thought forms, it's a thing. So you don't have to dwell in them. You don't have to bathe in them. You don't have to live in them, but you have to be aware of them. You have to be mindful of them, and then you can clear them out. But that's a choice you get to make. And you do that through directing your energy. You do that. Nobody else does that. You do that. Right? Now, shameless plug here. This is what I help people do. Get their own empowerment back so that they can do this. And we do this in a very energetic and a spiritual way, along with working with your human. And we bring out the intelligence of your soul. So you're working with your higher soul and your lower soul, which is your human, and energetic frequencies. Because anxiety lies to you. Fear lies to you. So you actually get to choose. You get to choose. But we're not taught that. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you and teach you that it doesn't have to be that way. Right? So be mindful and aware of what your thoughts are, because your mind is going to confirm that over and over and over again through synchronicities, positive or negative. Listen, energy does not care. They're just subatomic particles that move in a certain pattern and at a certain speed. They have no judgment, these subatomic particles. They don't care. They're just going to move in certain ways that are going to create a reality for you based on how you are directing those patterns and you are directing the speed. Doesn't matter. Doesn't care. Okay, guys? So confirmation bias is super, super important. Thought forms are super, super important in your human experience. And you don't have to be a victim anymore. You can have power. You just don't know how to do it, and that's okay. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. So on that note, we're going to go ahead. We're going to end here. But just know that you're not broken. You're not hopeless. You don't have to just, take it for all it's worth. You can gain control. You just don't know how. That's it. So learn how. Literally that simple. Learn how. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I've got more guests for you on the way. Please feel free to share these episodes with other people who you think might benefit, right? I mean, not charging you. There's no fee for this. So please, if this resonates with you, let me know. Drop some comments below. And let's go on this journey together, right? Let's do it. All right, you guys, stay connected. I'll see you on the flip side. Well, our time in this now moment together has ended, but another now moment is on its way. Thank you so much for joining me in this human journey and listening to this podcast, The Portal with Terrie Huberman. I sure hope you're getting something out of it. I'm here to help you clear anxiety from the past, align your energy into the present, and help you create your future. My prayer for you is to find the peace and calmness in any given now moment so you can recognize when blessings are afoot and you get to choose your next adventure. Be curious and stay connected. You can always find me at terriehuberman.com. Bye now.